It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
And a good day to you. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're happy to welcome back in studio again. We did a segment earlier this week with Brian Watson, and Brian is a special agent with the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. Our first segment was fun. You told us a lot of things, explained a lot of things, and taught us a lot of things. This one may be a tiny bit more serious because we're going to talk about scams. Something that I would think as a criminal investigator with IRS, you deal with an awful lot. People trying to relieve honest taxpayers, good folks, of their money, both big purses and small. So I want to kind of jump into that. As we come through holiday time, is there a seasonal element to, scamming, be it like phone scams and things like that? It seems like some of the smaller ones are. Kind of related to holiday.
Yes, well...
charitable.
Yeah, so there'll be, holiday-related things where people are buying things online,
right.
Fake ads where you think you're going to Amazon or a similar online company,
Bingo.
But you're really not, so you have to be very careful on any links you see. Yeah, we see stuff during tax season. We saw a lot during COVID when the government was handing out the checks, the economic income, the payments, some people call them stimulus, but it's economic impact payments. And we saw a lot of text messages and emails about that were complete scams.
You bet. Yeah. It never ends, but sometimes there's an opportunistic avenue toward it. Well, let's just kind of talk about that. Some of the biggest kinds of scams that are out there. There can be at a corporate level. There can be the moms and the pops. And I know you gave us an example off the mic of one lady who was caught up in, I guess we call it a romance scam, and she lost a lot of money. Is that among the more popular?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I mean, you hear these romance scams, and they typically will target people who are a little, older, retired, maybe elderly, a lot of times widowed or widowers. And they're kind of lonely. They're used to having someone at the house. Then someone says, why don't you go on the internet and, make some friends? And then that's where the criminals are. They're targeting these people. They start saying nice things to you. They start, saying, you're my love. You're beautiful. I'm going to come visit you. We're going to get married. And, a lot of times with the kind of classic romance scam, they say, well, I'm working in this foreign country and my credit card got stolen. Can you send me some money? And then they start milking them.
After having built this online rapport.
And I was at work once with one of our agents. She sits next to me, and she was talking to a lady, and the lady would not believe that her boyfriend was a criminal in another country halfway around the world. And she said, ma'am, there's 5 other women sending money to this guy. Mm-hmm. This is not your boyfriend. Have you ever met him? No, but I trust him. We're going to get married. No. So the latest version, I just heard about this scam like a couple months ago. It's called pig butchering. And you can look it up online. And it basically comes from a Chinese word called shazhupan. I'm not doing a very good job reading it, I'm sure. But it's basically a con man builds that long romantic relationship starting out at the online dating platform. And instead of asking for money just to help me out, they say, hey, you got a lot of money, right? Well, you want to invest in crypto. You want to help out that next generation. Okay. You want to help out your grandkids. I can help you get into crypto. You can make a bunch of money. So they give that person one of the little QR codes, get them to put money into an ATM somewhere, putting in cash, and then eventually they go in for the slaughter. And the slaughter means they
clean you out.
They clean you out. That money's gone. You don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
So all that money you thought you were investing in crypto went to some scammer who's in another part of the world. Yeah. And that scammer's not just going after that one person. They're going after a bunch of people.
And these criminals are very good at what they do.
They are professionals.
Yeah.
Like the whole grandparent scam. Most people would say, I would never fall for that.
Yeah.
But they keep you on the line.
Right.
And they sound legitimate, and they sometimes will follow it up with a law enforcement call claiming to be law enforcement.
Right. But
they keep you on your cell phone. They do this too. On your cell phone, they'll tell you to hit the do not disturb button. That way, a family member cannot
break in
or intervene. Yeah. Like they want you to go down to the local store and buy one of those prepaid cards. and then they'll get the money off it, and then you're out the money.
It seems like, and here again, and I know that good, smart people have been taken. It can happen to anybody. But what are, we know a lot of us, I think, if the phone rings and we don't recognize the number, we don't answer it. That's one way to do it. But here again, older folks frequently are a little more trusting.
Yep.
Just a generation of people that behaved a little bit better and can fall into that net.
Well, that's why the IRS impersonation scam, the phone scam, was so successful. Started in 2013, and basically is the high-pressure call, someone claiming to be from the IRS and say you need to pay now, or you're going to jail, or you're going to be sued, or you're going to lose your driver's license or be deported. They did all kinds of things like that, and people panicked and gave over a lot of money. And the only way we've stopped it, we've had some cooperation overseas, but the way we really stop it is drying up the pool of potential victims through education, public outreach, or doing radio shows like this.
Exactly.
So here's the deal. IRS is not going to call and demand money over the phone.
Yeah.
So that's like, if anybody listens to anything today, remember that. IRS does not call and demand money over the phone. You'll get a letter in the mail first if there's an issue with your account.
Right. And typically speaking, nobody's going to call you and demand money. I mean, if there's a collection agency and you have already a history of some kind of a trouble, then maybe it's a little bit different. But just on the face of it, if someone is calling and at the end of the call, you've given them money, stop, brother. Stop, sister. There's probably a good chance that you're falling into some kind of a problem. Again, just trying to avoid it by simply being educated. And is there a way to do that beyond some of what we're doing here today? Again, a website or general information?
I would just refer people to irs.gov.
Okay.
The FBI has the Internet Complaint Center, IC3. You can go on there. It has a lot of stuff. I mean, the biggest thing, the biggest scam we're seeing, though, is the phishing emails. It's the unsolicited emails. So the PH, phishing for like phony. So think phony emails, something that comes to your inbox. Like I have one here, and I know this is radio, but I have a printout of a very persuasive phishing email. It was actually targeted to a lady I know in Phoenix who works for an elder charity, like that, or a nonprofit that tries to educate the elderly. And it basically had her name, and it says, I am Lauren Baker from the Internal Revenue Service Audit Department. And it basically is a well-written email, and it says, signed Lauren Baker, IRS Audit Department. But, I just knew it was a scam right away because that's not our email. Okay. And plus, here's the number one thing. IRS doesn't email you with stuff like this. So we don't email, we don't text. But when I saw this phishing email, I could see how people fall for it.
Sure.
And here's the other thing, too. I always tell people, never reply to an email on your smartphone. The thing is too small. The screen's too small. You can't see where it's coming from. Go on your home computer with a big screen.
Okay.
Look exactly where it's coming from. It's usually a very obscure email. And phishing emails will always have a link they want you to click on.
Right.
Move your mouse over it. Don't click on it. You can hover your mouse over that hyperlink, and you'll see it's going to a very long, obscure website. Like, let's say it's Bank of America or Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Saying your account's been compromised. You need to unlock it.
Okay.
You can see it's coming from an obscure email, and that link is going to take you to a bad place where they either want your personal information or they're going to put some malware on your computer. So if you're in doubt, just delete the email, contact the bank or the IRS directly.
Yeah. Well, can you just simply call like even your local law enforcement? I know it can be the local PD be getting probably dozens of calls in every single jurisdiction every day, but most of us see those and delete them.
But so I talked to police officers about this, and they'd rather spend the time on the front end than people losing money on the back end.
Yeah.
I was last month I was over at Prescott Valley PD, and I was talking to them, and they have a great unit there. And on their Facebook page, they had a whole section. If you're ever in doubt about an email or something, hang up, call us.
Yeah.
Because they can spend 5 or 10 minutes with you and say, don't do this. This is a scam. Whereas if you do lose the money, then they're spending hours, days trying to track down the money, and they may never get it back.
Well, once the money's out, these are a lot of times foreign operations. You're just never going to be able to track it down.
I would say, 90% of the time it's gone or more. So just buyer beware. And the thing with phishing emails and these phone call emails is they are 100% preventable, meaning you have to either answer the phone or respond to the email. It takes something on your part. The criminals can't just steal from you. You have to
open the door.
You have to open the door and think. And that's a good point. Your smartphone is a portal to your money and your financial information and your personal information. So treat it with more respect and caution.
Right.
That's what I want people to take away from this. And then, talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, have that talk with them, and my parents are both around 80 years old, and they tell me about the scam calls they get and the emails. But even then, my dad almost fell for one the other day.
Yeah.
They get better and better at it, and eventually, we could all fall for it. So, and also here too, Brad, you have to remember, young people fall for this stuff too.
Sure.
20-year-olds and teenagers fall for stuff because they're too trusting of not the landline, but the smartphone.
Yeah.
They think if it came from the smartphone, this is legit.
I got this. You betcha.
Everyone can fall for these scams, but they are 100% preventable.
Let's take a short break. It's Countywide. Brian Watson is here today, Special Agent with the Internal Revenue Service, describing in an earlier show what it is they do, what they don't do, and today trying to help us all avoid people who would like to relieve us of our hard-earned cash. We'll break. Countywide is back after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment. In Flagstaff, call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solaire Services offer the trusted carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solaire is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solaire Services, online at verdesolaire.com, a factory-authorized carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Welcome back to Countywide. Again, our guest today, Brian Watson, Special Agent Enforcement, IRS Criminal Investigations, the Internal Revenue Service. It's tax time. It's IRS time in a lot of our minds. When I'm looking for help with my taxes, what do I need to think about with tax preparers, online tax preparation? Do I need to be face to face? What do you recommend from your chair?
So choosing a return preparer and choosing to do it on your own or paying someone is a personal choice. I think it all is dictated by how complicated your finances are. Mm-hmm. I have an accounting background, so I do it online. I do it myself. I've never paid anybody for it. I'm very comfortable. But taxes are complicated. And if you own a business or rental properties or you just have a lot of interesting things on your return, it's probably your best interest to hire someone. You're in good company. 55% of Americans have a paid preparer. So more than half go to a paid preparer, and you would want to choose one the same way you would choose, say, a doctor, dentist, or a wedding photographer. Word of mouth, trust. Are they local? Do they have a good reputation?
Do your homework.
That. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And the vast majority of them are honest and ethical. They're very good at what they do. You can trust them. The ones that keep us busy in IRS criminal investigation are the shady ones. So red flags, ones that promise you a huge refund when they haven't even looked at your tax situation.
Okay.
Number two, anybody who bases their fee on a percentage of your refund. That's a huge red flag because it's a built-in incentive for them to pad your return with false deductions. But just, anybody who's just getting the buzz around town because they're getting big refunds and that's how they're driving people to their business. Stay away from people like that.
Yeah.
Because even though someone else prepares it, you're the one
On the
whose
hook.
name is on it, and they're not the ones who get audited and have to pay the extra money back.
Right. Okay. Like you say, again, common sense is a lot of it, but sometimes common sense can take a holiday for or even the most seasoned people in working either with numbers or professionals or just whether you're doing it on your own. So again, just kind of be cautious, be careful, get that good feeling like you said, a doctor. That's a great example. It's going to be a very personal kind of thing that you're doing and should be held close to the vest. If I'm having problems with my tax preparer, we're into the process, and I'm starting to say, why would he ask me that? Why would she, those kinds of things? What do I do then? Just walk away, say, never mind, thank you?
Yeah, I mean,
does that happen, or?
It does. I mean, we've had people that, a lot of times it's because they were audited by the IRS.
Okay.
The big scam we're seeing right now is very specific, is unscrupulous return preparers who are creating fake Schedule Cs on people's tax returns. So a Schedule C is basically a profit business, like a small side business.
Okay.
I mean, it could be a small store. I mean, it could be a carpet cleaning business. It could be auto repair.
A lot of people have side hustles today.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Well, or just that's their full-time job. But
okay.
And the whole point with the Schedule C is you report the income and you're entitled to take the expenses.
Gotcha.
Well, we're seeing return preparers, the unscrupulous ones, a small minority of them, mind you, will create a Schedule C. They'll say, wait, do you ever take pictures? Oh, you're a photographer. And give you an example.
Okay.
And they'll report zero to just a tiny amount of income, but they'll take these crazy expenses. And the reason why they do that loss from the Schedule C flows to the front page of the return, and it offsets your other income. So you end up paying less taxes, and then now they can charge you more for that return because it's a bigger return. There's more documents in it, there's more forms and things like that, and it gets people in the door. So in my office in Tucson right now, I would say half of our special agents have one of these types of cases right now, because return preparers, the bad ones, are copycats, and that's what they're doing. And we are prosecuting these return preparers who do this stuff.
Okay.
But it's the taxpayers who end up having to pay the difference if that particular tax return is assessed.
Well, and you as the taxpayer may not know that what they're doing is nefarious.
Right, but you know what? The problem is a good return preparer will go through the tax return line by line with you.
Okay.
Some people are just like, oh, this is a tax return. It's in another language. I don't even want to look at it, but that's not the case. Yes, taxes are complicated, but they can show you, okay, this is where your wages are from your job. This is the Schedule A where your mortgage interest is and your charitable donations are. And here's where your medical is. And here's your here's your side business, A good return preparer will do that, because I've interviewed these people and they said, I didn't even know that form was there.
Gotcha.
They didn't even bother to print the return or to open up the PDF and look at it. So that's what we're talking about. But once again, the vast majority of return preparers out there have a good reputation in the community. They're around all year. So in case something comes up in the summer or in the fall, they're there to help you out. And I don't want people to be paranoid about this, but, look at that tax return carefully. Make sure you know everything that's on there.
It should be able to be justified on the paperwork.
Absolutely.
What it is they're doing. You'll see it if you look for it. And again, ask for help if an outside party, if you can't kind of get there. All right, we need to take another break. We'll come back, kind of wrap it up. A couple of programs, fascinating stuff. Brian Watson is with the Internal Revenue Service. Special Agent Watson is back on Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solar, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solar offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solar is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at vertisolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
Welcome back, Countywide. Our final segment. Brian Watson is with the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Arm, and we've done 2 shows previously, talked about a number of things. This show, we kind of focused early on scams and different ways. There's so many different ways folks can try to relieve you of your hard-earned cash. As always, that bottom line is try to educate yourself as well as you can, and hopefully today's show will help people question if they find themselves in a predicament. Last show, we wrapped up with Al Capone. This time, the IRS has some kind of a role in solving the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, so I got to close with that. What was that about?
So I didn't know about this until maybe like 10 years ago, but the Lindbergh baby was kidnapped, and there was a ransom demanded.
Yeah.
And Lindbergh actually reached out to Elmer Irie, who was basically running what's now IRS Criminal Investigation, and said, you guys are good with financial information. Can you help out? Well, Elmer and his team basically said, you know what, let's do this. When we pay out this ransom, let's record all these serial numbers for the money that was being paid out. And it was some sort of certificates, like gold certificates or things like that. And they laboriously wrote down every one of these things. And this is back in the day before computers, before Xerox machines and things like that. And they circulated those serial numbers to the banking community in the area where they thought the money might be spent. Well, the criminals, the guy, Bruno Hauptmann was the guy who did it, ended up spending the money because that's what criminals do, and that's how they traced it back to him.
He turned in a bill at one of the places that was already looking for him.
Right, and they could match it up with the list. So you think about the labor involved in that, and that did it. Obviously, the Lindbergh baby kidnapping ended tragically. The baby was found dead, but at least it was solved, and there's there you get closure if people talk about that. But I just thought that was very interesting that the IRS. My predecessors were involved in helping solve that kidnapping.
And Elmer, was that the same guy in the Capone
same
case?
Elmer Irie, yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah, Elmer was busy. So Elmer Irie gets no credit. Everyone gives the credit to Elliot Ness. But if you look up Elmer Irie, there's a lot of stuff on the internet about him. He was an amazing man. He worked for many different presidents. He was highly respected. Someday he's going to get his due on some Netflix series or some movie.
Do you guys have a giant poster of him in the lobby at the IRS headquarters?
No. We don't, but we're moving in that direction. If you go to Vegas, there's the
Gangster Museum.
The Gangster Museum has a whole section that mentions IRS criminal investigation, some of the cases we worked, and it was the criminals back then were kind of running the country like the cartels are running Mexico right now, and we were able to, we federal law enforcement and the federal government were able to get a hold of and slow down and stop a lot of the stuff they were doing to get a little more, a lot less crime in this country from that angle right there.
All right. Fascinating. I really appreciate it, having you come up visiting us from downstate. And it has been an education. Brian Watson with the IRS Criminal Investigation. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.